It's Delhi v Mumbai. Whether you talk about cocktail parties, you talk about fashion, you talk about people. It's Delhi v Mumbai all the time. Geez, that's a big game. But Michael, clearly one team going in with an advantage and the other team going in at the back of 3 losses with many more questions than answers.
Yeah, it's all the mindset. I mean, I'm just intrigued to see the Delhi mindset tomorrow. Do they go out and play, a careful game, or are they going to just go for it, and really free themselves up? They have got some experience in that team. The likes of Ashwin's going to play a big role. Axar Patel bowled brilliantly. So you look at that combination, that'll have to work for Delhi. And obviously Shikhar Dhawan, they want him back to that 100 form that we saw a few games ago. And I'm just intrigued by some of those younger players in the side. Will they fear the situation and worry that they've not won and they're suddenly looking at 14 and if they lose 2, it might not be enough, the net run rate? Or are they seeing it as a great opportunity and seeing that first 2 places, which is exactly what they should be thinking? Win the next 2 games, they finish in the top 2. They only have to win a couple of games and they're the champions. That's the right mindset. The fearful mindset is, just finish in the top 4 and then we'll look after the qualifications when we get there. But they've got to have a mindset tomorrow of win, get in the top 2, make it easy to win the competition.
The problems they're having, Pommy, is that even when Shikhar is fired, they're only getting 1 opener to work. So that's not good because they're not getting a stand, right? Rishabh Pant is just looking out of shape, isn't he? He's just looking out of sorts in a way that we've not really seen him. So that's 2 big points of trouble, pain points for them in their batting order.
Yeah, so I think that in this format of the game, this shortest format, it's punishing in that when guys are sort of, go off color, you lose the game. It's as simple as that, and things look horrible. It just looks like you're out of it. And what's happened for Delhi, if you think about the way they started, everyone was doing something. Yeah. Absolutely everyone. So it didn't matter who you picked in the side, they did something in each of the games that they won. And because it's 2020 and there must be someone who doesn't have such a great game, there'd be one guy, but it'd stick with him, they're winning, and then go to the next game, and that guy would do okay. But then what's happened is all departments look like there's something wrong everywhere, right? And this is the challenge. Now, how do you then play? Do you play like, we've got to carefully get out of it? I remember doing a post-match interview with Shreyas Iyer, and he spoke about how he and Ricky Ponting told everybody to go out, express themselves with no fear, just play and show your skills. And everyone was doing that, and things were going well. And I asked, well, what about your form? And I think it was after that 88 he got, where some of those shots that he played. I said, and he was that happy, he turned the question around. He answered it. He says, yeah, I'm happy with how I'm playing. I think I'm playing well. What do you think? To me at the presentation, right? Yeah. That's how happy he was. The last time I spoke to him, he couldn't string a sentence together, really. Yeah. Because they'd lost and it was the 3rd time on the bounce. And all of a sudden, it was as if that nervous guy from 2 years ago was back. And that's what sport does. That's what this game does. It gets, a couple of performances get you doubting things. And if you are not able to rid yourself of the doubt, then you can't perform optimally. And so the quest for Ponting and for Iyer is to get a smile back on the guys' faces and say, look, you're good. Just go out there and let's get it done. And I suppose you have to be prepared to be 50 all out because you're committed to how you're going to play the shots you play. Not that you shouldn't get 50 all out, but you should be committed in the same way as was the case in those first 5, 6, 7, 8 games where things were going well.
If there's anyone who knows psychological warfare, physical warfare, if there's any team, they've got a Q ahead of their name, right? So Delhi will be hoping that, I don't know, maybe they just get complacent for 10 minutes and then we can just try and dominate them. But that's not the kind of team Mumbai is, Pommy.
No, it's not. And Mumbai sit there and they say, well, what can we do here? What we can do is ensure that our competition for first place is done, right? So let's get it done. And just generally, nobody wants to get into the playoffs of losing games. You don't want to have that problem. Nobody goes into any game wanting to lose. And so, yeah, it's a big game for Delhi. I mean, Mumbai have got a top side. And when they did change it around, I mean, of course, some of their changes have been enforced and because of
only 13 players.
Yeah, because of pressure, right? Because of the pressure of injury, essentially, right? Like, this guy's injured, can't play, got to play another guy. Their replacements have been decent. I know they've gone from Coulter-Nile back to Pattinson. I reckon Pattinson was taken out of his groove, so to speak, because he was going well, and they decided they're going to change. But with the skipper, it'd be interesting if we'll see the skipper back. It'd be interesting if we'll see Rohit Sharma back.
I don't think tomorrow. They are talking about him being back on the 3rd for the final league game, but not tomorrow. Definitely not tomorrow. I think that's pretty much just confirmed that he won't be there tomorrow. So, Pollard's done well, though. I mean, you'd have a look at that and you're going, you've liked his leadership. You've liked the things that he's done, backed his players' arm around the shoulder in terms of strategy. That's a really solid leadership unit. But what's happened, Michael, with Mumbai that you see this year is they've played, you somehow look at them and it just feels calm. It doesn't feel chaotic. It doesn't feel frantic. It doesn't feel tear away. It just feels solid, I think is the word.
Yeah, well, it's not been broken. So, why muck around? Why be funky? Why change too much? The team that know how to win this event, every single player knows their roles inside the side. I think what Kieron Pollard has delivered is Rohit Sharma's captaincy. Pretty much the same kind of manoeuvres, same fields, the same bowling changes. It's very easy as a captain to come in and try and do it your own way, but why do it your own way when the way that Rohit was doing it was working? So I think that's real clever leadership on behalf of Kieron Pollard, is to just go out and deliver what's been delivered before. Don't be so egotistical and try and do things your own way at time. I mean, obviously you have to be your own person in the style of management that you bring to the players, but in terms of the tactical side of the game, I don't think Kieron Pollard's done anything different to what Rohit Sharma's done, and why would he? Because it's been working.